The other thing, I just want a special shout out to our wonderful programmer, Justin McConnell. Give it up for Justin, who helped champion this film, helped get it to our festival. Love Justin. He's just going home to work his dog before he comes back to the midnight show. I'll start with a couple of questions before we throw it to the gang. Inspiration. I hear this came from a unique place. Twitter? Was it a Twitter conversation?
Yeah, we make movies off of Twitter in Hollywood now, so that's super weird. No, how many of you guys are familiar with Chuck Wendig and Sam Sykes? Yeah? Awesome. How many of you guys read the original Twitter conversation that they did? Yeah?
Spoilers!
Awesome. I know. You read it, you kind of knew, but if you didn't, then now you can go read it. But they are two very prolific and awesome writers and guys, and they did what I learned is called shit posting. But I didn't know. Fran and I both learned this. I was like, all right. But they did a conversation online, basically role playing as if Sam was trapped at a summer camp in the middle of a horror movie, and he was looking to Chuck for guidance to help him out. And so I didn't know that. The call I got was, hey, how do you feel about making a movie off of the Twitter conversation? And I was pretty much ready to find a new career and just think, I should go do something else. But when I read it, I was really excited about it. And I saw that, wow, these guys are really funny. And at the core of it felt like, one, was a love for a genre that I love very much. And two, was a friendship that I cared about in 60 tweets. And so I was like, wow, if we can go have a ton of fun with the genre that I love, the slasher genre, and put at the heart of it two people that I want the audience to love and that I love and very much reflect my voice and Fran's voice and you care about them, then I feel like we could have a lot of fun making this. So. Yeah.
Let's talk about your wonderful cast here, Fran, and your process getting involved in the film, and bringing Alison in as well.
Yeah, I got the script early on. I thought it was hilarious. I got on the phone with Brett, and we really hit it off. We sort of were in an agreement that with we didn't want it to feel like a sketch, like a comedy sketch or a total spoof, and we wanted to make sure that we played the stakes real enough that the audience would really be invested in the situation, because obviously the situation with the call and the conversation with Chuck becomes so kind of self-aware, and there's so much like kind of jokey commentary that we didn't want to lose the intensity of a horror film, and that was sort of the first thing that we talked about. And so Brett and I on set were always kind of checking in with one another and sort of walking that fine line, and I think we did a really great job with it. I'm really proud of the film. So yeah, but that's I didn't even know about the Twitter conversation, I think, until like halfway through the shoot.
Yeah. All Fran knew was there's a script.
Yeah.
And really quick, because I know we got to talk about Alison too, but I actually have a couple cast members in the crowd that I wanted if you guys are going to have to stand up, and I'm going to make you do it. But first is Kim Cannon, dear friend of mine who was in the comic shop. She was the how fun being accomplice in murder, sweetie. And so it was awesome. You can come out and visit. And then in the house, I also have Steve the Kayak King, Brian Price. So yeah, you can feel free to call him Brian the Kayak King if you like. And then added bonus with them also, I have representing the band Harlow. Chris is here. He wrote the title track for the
amazing title track. You heard the credits.
Hassle them at the bar afterwards, but I'm just stoked that they're here. But yeah, and then also Alison, obviously. And the best part of this thing, and I want to say this publicly because I just really want to tout Fran and Alison's work, because they were never in a scene together. But what's crazy is I feel like their chemistry is really palpable.
Yeah.
And that was all chemistry that they generated individually on their own side of it. Like that's acting, and like that's what Fran was able to do. And then Alison, I was just like, oh my God, like they've never been in a room, they've never even looked at each other's face like in this movie, but I believe that they know each other and they're teasing each other, and she's upset about him inviting his ex-girlfriend, and like just this whole relationship. I believe it to the point where in the end when he's trying to pull off the mask, like she's heartbroken, and I was like, I don't know how they did it, but thank God they did it in a movie that I directed and somebody else. So.
Let's give it up for your two fantastic leads.
Thank you. Absolutely.
This film would not work without the film conversation. And I guess we should mention the fact that you've been in Cabin in the Woods, and Alison obviously from other Josh
She's in a
Whedon.
TV series.
Josh Whedon, Dollhouse.
Yeah.
Josh Whedon, obviously got connections with Allison. Is there some Whedonverse thing going on here? Or?
We were joking that we went to the Joss Whedon School of Acting. You know, yeah, no, I'd never met, I met Allison once. I'd never worked with her before because I'd worked with her husband, Alexis. And, but yeah, I came to set one day to the comic book store to sort of, say hi and hang out and read lines. But I really felt like I was just kind of in the way more than anything. I think, we know what we're doing, and we kind of, I do think Allison, now that I've seen it twice, she has a harder job than me. It's a much trickier thing what she's doing. We all know kind of what I'm doing. I'm the guy in the horror film. I'm running around covered in blood, running for my life, and terrified, and the confusion of being the killer or not being the killer. That's one thing, but her what she has to do tonally, I think, is very complicated in sort of supporting me, so to speak, and kind of being there as my friend and advising me through the situation, and also being an accomplice to murder, essentially. You know what I mean? It's very weird.
She's like conveying that she enjoys all this without looking sadistic.
Right, yeah,
It's
super
like,
enthusiastic about the evening, but yeah, with this, 12 people dying, yeah.
I live for this stuff.
I think it's time to open it to the floor. We got some hands raised. Come on, let's see some over there. Do you want to go over there? Yeah, you're there.
The comic book store Rings of Saturn, was that pre-existing or was that built for the film?
Comic store.
I wish we had the budget to build that. No, that's an existing standing comic shop. They still exist. Go support your local comic shops. That was one in Lafayette. And so we filmed in Lafayette. We found this really cool...
Louisiana.
Yeah, I think so. Lafayette, Louisiana. It was this really cool, kind of old school comic shop that felt like it was built in the 80s, standing in the 80s, and we very much were trying to make sure that our movie felt like it lived in the decade of the 80s. So it was a very, we were very fortunate to find that for sure.
We got some more hands over there. Oh.
Yeah, I'm just kind of curious if you shot it in chronological sequence or
I wish.
The shooting structure, yeah.
Yeah, if any of you aspiring filmmakers are thinking about making a nonlinear movie, I would suggest don't. It's like a pain in the butt. No, we didn't. And I mean, you never really have the fortune of filming, you rarely have the fortune of filming in linear order, but then on top of that, our movie never had a linear order, and so our script supervisor was, he looked very stressed on set. And to be honest, we recently finished, like Francis, he's only seen this movie twice. I've only seen this movie with an audience 3 times, and we only recently finished this. And through writing the script, me and producer Tom Vitale, who we co-wrote together, we had note cards out, just going okay, so if Sam's here, who's dead at this point? Okay, so then we did my title cards, and literally, it looked like we were trying to figure out something important, but we're just writing a movie, and we're just okay, and diagrams and stuff, and then we're on set, and we're shooting entire sequences, and we're oh my god, he shouldn't be wearing that right now, and we we call actors that we found out on the day, oh wait, they don't need to be here, why did we call them and mess it up?
They're dead.
Yeah, they're dead. All the way to when we were putting the titles in the movie, I went to watch the final layoff of the movie. This is hey Brett, the movie's done, just want to make sure that you see it. And I watched that one of the title numbers, one of the body count numbers is wrong. And I had to pause it and do the math. And I was oh my god, and we had to reopen post, and it was...
I was wondering if those started as just a way to help you know where you were. Oh, this is kind of cool, I might keep this. Yeah, no, I remember a lot of takes being right before action, being is it the knife or the bat? Is it the knife? Switching out the props and having no idea, what sort of reality or memory we were in.
You've got to get the level of blood just right on your face, depending on which part of the film it's in, right?
Yeah, that just turned into just put it all on.
I hope you guys enjoyed it, because it should never be done again. But it was fun.
We got 2 more hands from the audience. Anybody want to throw one out? Anyone in the back? Are we shy? Over there. Yes.
Are there some scenes that you guys are disappointed or that didn't make it, or subplots that were cut or anything like
Okay,
that?
some scenes that might be in the bonus features.
I will say that one of the things what was really great was Fran and I, because we were on the same page right away, and in the script writing process, Tom and I as co-writers, I'm backing up a little bit, when we were writing it, Tom is a very experienced guy. He's been in this genre for a very long time, and I'm still a relatively younger filmmaker. And as we began to write, a lot of our duties turned into him being Chuck and me being Sam, and like us like literally role playing like goofballs. And so I began to feel a lot of ownership over Sam, just as far as his voice went, which is why once Fran and I connected, I felt like really this movie was a matter of Fran and I just going into the woods and really just collaborating. And as a result, there's a lot of riffing, and it was more a matter of discovering things in production that I wish we could have used more. And one of those things was, and I don't know how many of you guys caught it because I had to strip back in the edit how much we did it, but Fran and I kind of quietly were just laughing at the fact that there's this whole through line of how great Jamie is with a shovel. Complete and total accident, to the point that like when she's like standing there like, I'm going to defeat him with a shovel, I was like, we didn't even, this is hilarious. Like, people were like, and Fran had so many great jokes, like just like, and like everyone was concerned like, oh no, it's like, it's going to be too funny. And I'm like, but guys, this is magic. And I wish that we had more Jamie is amazing with the shovel jokes. Yeah. Was there anything you missed?
I'm trying to think. I feel like nothing was really cut significantly,
No,
right?
no.
I know those physical, the mask, you know, the mask sort of tractor beam sucking my face in, all those scenes like that. I didn't really know how else to do it other than just kind of get as physical as I could, and so when I watch some of those, it's kind of hard to watch. It like still kind of hurts. I sort of remember. I mean, some of those things kind of just slamming my head against the wood and whatnot. We just kind of went for it. You know what I mean? I mean, this was a 20-day shoot or something?
It was a 15-day shoot.
15 days, yeah. So it was a lot, and there wasn't a lot of time to fake it sometimes, or you know what I mean. So it was
rehearse.
Yeah. So it was super physical. So I watched some of those scenes, and I'm just kind of in pain.
Well, really, before we move on, like I just want to say, like on the note of that scene, and again, I'm just going to publicly just like completely gush on you. So sorry. But that scene is one of my favorite sequences in the movie. And when we did that again with the rush schedule, there isn't like the whole benefit of just like, hey, like Brandon and I will be in the rehearsal hall, like, figuring it out. Like a lot of us just being on set, just going for it and kind of following our instincts and having a lot of fun. Like the spirit behind everything we were doing was really like, man, let's just have some fun with this. And that whole sequence of him fighting the mask on the ground, I'm coming in with some ideas, and Fran just goes, you know, I think I got some ideas. And I was like, all right. And so we rolled, and I felt like I finally got to step out of the director's chair and just be an audience member, because I didn't really know what I was going to do, and that whole thing was him. Like, I just had to keep putting the camera more places so he could just keep doing it. That was literally Fran Kranz unleashed, and it's just like magic to me.
Come on.
We've got time for just maybe one last question. Anyone go on? Okay, do you want to go there? Yeah.
All set up for a sequel, or are we gonna see in?
The sequel question.
We always get the sequel question. It's my fault.
Go on.
So the ending for me was, we had a lot of debate about the ending, and our schedule was so rushed. We were figuring out the ending well into production because we had an idea of one that we just weren't sure on. We just kind of kept going, and I just couldn't kill Sam. And there was, every time we tried to end the movie with Sam surviving and the mask bearing, and like, ha ha, it just felt wrong. And it felt false because he was killing all these people, but at the same time, I think you just care about him so dang much. I was like, it was so hard for me. And originally in the early development of the script, he got killed by all the counselors and kept coming back to life like Jason would, or like any of the guys. And so the whole frustration was that he just wouldn't die. And I was just like, wait a second, maybe that's where the sequel goes. I just got to bring him back to life one more time before we go to credits to at least satisfy my soul that Sam could still be alive if we never make another movie. So that's kind of where the ending came from, and it's kind of where my brain starts to go.
I think we'd like to see more of Sam.
Of Fran, 100%.
Yeah? We want to see a sequel. Before we go, where can fans find you in Canada? I know it's got a US release, but where can fans in Canada? Do you know when it's going to be released?
So it's going to, I'm not allowed to like talk about all the details of it because it's also coming together, but I will say that you will be able to catch it on a very popular streaming platform, in the near future.
So this might be the only chance to see it theatrically.
100%. And honestly, guys, like, I think this movie is best viewed with a crowd. And I think that regardless of where everyone else is able to access this movie, and I hope they do, and I hope they enjoy it, I think what you guys got tonight is the pinnacle, like ideal viewing experience for this movie, and this is really what we made it for. And so thank you guys for coming out to see it.
Thanks for bringing us together.